There's two different types of empathy, if I can kind of go down this rabbit hole for
Sure,
a
yeah.
minute. There's cognitive empathy, which is more mental, rational, seeing the point of view of somebody else. I can see where you're coming from, Ben. And then there's emotional, or it's also called affective empathy. That's the much more heart. Ben, I really feel what you're feeling. I've been there. I get that. Those are two very different things. And it's really about cognitive empathy that's important and relevant in the workplace. If you're too far down into the emotional, first of all, I don't think everybody is able to as easily access it for all the things we were talking about earlier about hunters and gatherers and the way we're wired and stigma from society. And that's okay. And there are people that are really excellent at tapping into the emotional empathy. Awesome. In the workplace, though, it's really about seeing the point of view of other people, whether that's a colleague, a direct report, a leader, a business partner that's outside of your organization, your customer, your client, your consumer. You need to be able to see their point of view, understand where they're coming from in order to engage with them in a much more productive way. So, my guidance to the younger generation that's coming into the workforce is develop those skills. Think about how you want to show up, first of all, and then start to practice those skills and put them into place. I can guarantee if you're using cognitive empathy, in the workplace, you are going to have more success and you are going to be more successful. And success isn't always about a number of like, oh, look at my revenue goal, although it does
Mm.
help you with sales, but it also helps you get along with people. So maybe your 360 review is going to be more positive because you're taking the time to develop those relationships. When you're in a managerial position and you've got direct reports or you're project leading a team,
Mm.
you're going to get a lot more collaboration. You're going to get a lot more support. They're going to appreciate you, which means you're going to, and because of the relationship that you foster, you're actually going to experience less turnover. So, all of those things are going to be working together to make you a powerhouse and a dynamo in your organization. But
Mm.
it's the 21st century powerhouse dynamo that's leading with empathy rather than,
Mm.
Gordon Gekko, greed is good,
Mm.
and the horrible bosses that we've seen in the past.
If we think about this idea of cognitive empathy, then, Rob, that people can develop in the workplace, what are some of the practices or questions or habits that our listeners can use to start developing this muscle? And maybe this could be in the interactions that they have with their manager. Maybe this could be in the interactions they have with the people that they're managing. Or this could be when they're not interacting with someone at all, when they're just thinking things through or reading an email. However you'd like to take that. But what are the practical habits that we can use to start building cognitive empathy?
There's been such a cry that's been getting louder and louder every year about we need to be more empathetic. But nobody was talking about how to actually do it in the moment. And it's those things that are going on in your head when you're having an interaction with somebody, rather than the yes, you need to put yourself in their shoes, you need to go eat where they eat and read the books that they're reading. Those are the actions, but I wanted to really understand the sort of barriers that come up for us personally. And so, as a result of that, develop the 5 steps to empathy, which are the things you need to go through in order to clear the way to get there. It's dismantle judgment, ask good questions, actively listen, integrate into understanding, and then finally using solution imagination. So the first thing you got to do is dismantle your judgment. So if you get an email from somebody, if you've got bias, a stereotype, whatever your past experiences have been with them, if you let that get in your way, then you're never going to get to a successful, positive outcome that's good for both parties. So you've got to put yourself into their shoes. You've got to be thinking about like where are they coming from? If you're negotiating with somebody, what are they looking for? What's the outcome that
Mm.
they're hoping to achieve? What am I trying to achieve? And how do we find a middle ground that will work for both people? Right now, what's getting modeled for us in society, in politics, is this zero sum game. It's left versus right. It's my way, not your way, and that's not empathetic at all and not really conducive to creating good business relationships and success. So it's always thinking about the other person and where they're coming from and what's going on with them. And then how do you adapt?